Hi, welcome to part 3 of my AutoCAD tutorial. In this video we're going to draw the plan for a house. If there's anything you missed from part 2 that you need, I'm going to put a link to it down in the description below. Okay, now so I've got my walls and I'm going to offset them to make them into a proper wall instead of just a line. So I'm going to hit the O key like that, and you can see it shows me the offset command. So I could left click it, but I'm just going to hit the space bar because that's the same as hitting enter or accept. So, and it's going to ask me for a distance to specify it through. So I'm going to pick 250 millimeters because that's a pretty standard UK wall thickness. So I'm going to left click on the line and then I'm going to drag it inwards. And there we go. I've got a wall instead of just a line. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this away from the origin just because it looks a bit odd. And the way I do that is I'm going to select them both. So I'm going to left click and drag a box, and left click again. And now I've selected both of these things. And then I'm going to hit the M key, so M for move, and space, and then I'm just going to drag it over here. If I just wanted to move it in a horizontal or vertical sort of direction, I could press the F8 key, but I don't. I just want to move it somewhere random out of the way up here, just so it doesn't get confusing with these two lines here. Okay, so now I've drawn my walls. I want to draw a door. So I'm going to go up to here to layers. I'm going to click on a door, and there's a number of ways I could do this. I don't want to make any holes in my wall as such on the plan. Just want to show where the door is. So what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm just going to draw a little rectangle to show where the opening is. In later tutorials, what I can actually go in and do, I'll probably go in and do a lot more detail on the doors and windows so you can see on the plan. But for now, I just want to do a rectangle to show where they are. So I'm going to left click just anywhere to make my little rectangle. And I've decided my door is going to be 1 meter wide, or my door opening should I say, and I'm going to make the opening the same thickness as the wall, and so it's going to be 250 tall. So again, shift key, once I've left clicked to make this box, I'm going to hold the shift key and I'm going to press at, which gives me that the incremental dimensions. And then I'm going to type in 1000 because for the X direction, comma, and then 250 for the Y direction. Okay, now I want this door to be bang in the middle. We're going to draw like like one of these sort of make-believe houses where there's a door bang in the middle and a door out either side of the window, a bit like you would when you're 5. So I'm going to hit the M key for move, and I'm going to come down. I'm going to pick the midpoint. If you missed that bit earlier about the midpoint, the way you select that is you do shift and then right click to bring up your O snap settings, and then make sure that this one here is clicked. So do OK. So I'm going to left click on the midpoint. What that does is that tells it the reference point on the item where you want to move it to. And you'll see how that comes into play in a minute when I do some windows as well. So, and I want this to be bang in the middle of this wall. So I just hover it around until I find the midpoint, which is the other triangle. That line there is the intersection. So that's, if I just brought it perfectly upwards, that's where it would come to, but I don't want it there. I want it bang in the middle, which is where the other midpoint comes in, which is the midpoint of this line, which is also in the same position as the midpoint for that line. Okay, so that's my door location. I'm going to do the same for my windows. So again, I'm going to draw a rectangle. So I'll click to rectangle up here, and a left click, drag it out a bit, and then I'm going to hit the shift and the at key, and I'm going to have the windows the same width. So I'm going to have nice square windows that are 1 meter by 1 meter. So again, 1000, comma, and then 250 for the thickness of the wall. This will make more sense in a minute. So what I want now is I'd quite like the windows to be in the middle of this area, and this is this is 5 meters long. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag it from the corner. I'm going to pop it there, and then we're going to come up here to measure. I'm going to left click there and drag it to here, and that tells us that it's a meter. So it's a meter, this distance here between the corner of the blue one, the window, and the corner of the door. Now I can't have my window there because it's on the corner, and if you have windows in the corner of your house, it'll look pretty silly. So I'm going to move it inside because this distance here is 500 long. I want it halfway between the corner and the wall, so I'm going to move it 250. Oh no, I'm going to move it 500 in. So what I'm going to do is I press the M key, and it's asking me how far I want to move it, so I'm going to just type in 500. Bosh, there we go. Now what I'd like is another window on the opposite side. So what I'm going to do, instead of copying and pasting and doing that palaver again with sticking it in the corner then moving it across, I'm just going to mirror it. So to use the mirror command, you could come up here, this is the mirror command, or you can just type in MI. So MI. So the first thing it's going to ask you is the first point of the mirror line. So this is the point at which you want to create the mirror. So you think of yourself as drawing a mirror, and you have to think about where so I want this box over here, so I need to make a mirror here to reflect it over there. So I'm going to left click in the middle of my wall, which is also the middle of my door, so left click, and I'm going to drag straight upwards, and straight away you can see it's giving me a little preview of where it's going to go. If I dragged it this way, it would give me a mirror image opposite this line, which is in the wrong place. So I'm going to drag it straight up. I've pressed F8, which gives me the ortho. If I didn't press F8, I could have it wherever I wanted to, but I probably wouldn't get it where I want it. So there we go. So I've pressed F8 and I'm going to hit space. Oh, and it says no. So I'm gonna so I've left clicked to where I want the second point. Now it's going to ask, do you want to erase the source object? I'm going to click no in this case because I want both windows, but sometimes you might find you'll position something and then you realize, oh, I've put it in the wrong place, I want it on the other side. So in that case you would hit the Y key for Y, but I'm going to hit the N key for no. If I just press space then it would have defaulted to whichever one was selected, which in that case was N for no. Okay, so for my plan, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to put a back door in this. I'm going to put some patio doors. So in this case I'm going to have a 2 meter patio door. So again I'm just going to draw a box to show where the opening is. So I'm going to do at 2000, 1, 2, 3, comma, and then 250 for the wall thickness. And again, I'm gonna click. So I'll do that again. So I want to move it now. So I select it. I hit the M key, and I'm going to pick the top left corner there. I'm going to move it down into this corner so that it's not where I want it, but at least it's correct in this plane. It's correct in this plane. It's not correct here, but it's in line with the wall. So now I'm going to move it. I think this was 500 off that wall, so I'm going to move it so that it's in line with that. So I'm going to hit the M key again, M for move, and then I'm just going to left click anywhere because I know the distance I want it. It's 500. Incidentally, if I didn't want if I didn't know the distance I wanted it to move, let's say I just wanted another one of these next door to it, I could just do I could hit the move key, I could click on the top left corner. Oh, my mouse is frozen. Come on. There we go. So I could left click on the top left corner and then move over to here and left click again, and it would be exactly one window space away from where it was last time. So I'm going to hit the undo key now because I don't want my window there. Okay, I'm going to put another window on this side over here just to match it up. So I'm going to use the mirror function for that again. So MI space, and then I'm going to pick the midpoint of this wall, and that should put it bang in the middle of that wall as well. Oh, I forgot to press the OK button, so I'll do it again. MI space midpoint, and then you have to click a second time. So I'm going to click over here to form the other end of the mirror. Would I like to erase the source object? No, I wouldn't. So we put it there. Okay, now I'm going to put a couple of windows down each of these faces as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this window because I want all my windows to look the same. So I'm going to do copy, C for copy, and then P for paste. Now you can do you can just do C for copy, or CO, sorry, for copy, but copy paste is the most useful form of copying because it's rare that you copy something and don't immediately want a fresh copy of it, so to hand. So I'm going to click CP, and it's going to ask me for a base point. So it's going to ask me which point about which I want to copy it from. So I'm just going to pick any corner because it doesn't really matter in this case. And I'm going to click, and then I'm going to move it over here. I could type in a distance, but it doesn't matter because this window is in the wrong orientation to go in that wall. So I've got to do something else to it. So I'm going to left click, and if I wanted to, I could keep left clicking and just keep making more and more boxes. You can see why this is a useful tool, but I don't want that, so I'm just going to hit the escape key to stop pasting new windows. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to left click here and select all of these, and then I'm just going to hit the delete key and it'll go away. Okay, now to rotate this window to be in the right plane, what we're going to do is I could come over here and find rotate wherever it is. I'm not sure which one of these it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe I have to do a drop down. Is it in there? Anyway, the reason I don't know where it is because I never use the button for that. All I do is type in RO. So RO for rotate. There we go. You see. And then I'm going to hit space. Oh, there it is. Look, wood for the trees. And I'm just going to pick a corner. Now I can either rotate it using my mouse, or I could actually type in an angle if I wanted to. If you look down here at the tooltip, it says there's a chevron with a 270 next to it. So that's telling you that the angle it's currently at is 270. So 0 is there. If I press F8 and take it off orthogonal, I can put it at any angle I want. So I could type in 23, and it would put it in 23 degrees from where it was before. I don't really want it at 23 degrees, I want it at 90 degrees. So I'm going to do that again, RO, space, left click, I'm going to rotate it once. Now, because of the sign convention in AutoCAD, me pushing it upwards that way is actually 270, not 90. For this it doesn't really matter, 90 is that way. So if I type in 90, space, there it is. But for some things, obviously, this is symmetrical in lots of directions, whereas if I had something that wasn't symmetrical, it would now be upside down. So sometimes it's just easier to do it with your mouse. Okay, so now I'm going to move it to get it at least inside the wall to begin with. So left click, move, and then into there. Now this wall's longer. Let's say I'm going to have 2 windows. Let's say I'll have 3 windows down here. So I'm going to move it M space, and I'm going to move it into the wall by a meter. So that's 1, 1, 2, 3, 1,000. Okay, now I don't want to do any maths and work out how far apart this should be, so I'm just going to mirror this one, MI, about the centre of this wall, drag it across to here, and now I've got 2 of them. And now I want 1 more in the middle of this wall, so what I'm going to do is, instead of mirroring or just moving, I'm going to copy it, so copy, paste, CP, and this time I'm going to click the middle of the window at the midpoint, and I'm going to drag it down here until I get to the middle of this wall. So there we are, and left click. And now to get these walls on the other side of of the house. Instead of doing, I've got a few options. I could copy them, but there's no easy place to copy from here, because I'll show you what I mean. If I do copy, CP, it's going to ask me for a base point to copy them from. If I click here, I haven't really got, the only corner I've got is this one. So if I left click here, all my windows are in the wrong place. So I've got to do another step to get them back into the wall. There is a better way. So if I do undo, and then the other thing I forgot to mention earlier was if you do a command and then press space to complete it, pressing space again will repeat the same command. So I'll just scroll out and do something, and then if I hit the undo key, it's going to undo my scrolling. There we go, undo IntelliZoom. And if I hit it again, it's going to get rid of my windows, because that was the command before. If I hit it again, it's going to get rid of my middle window. There we go. So yeah, undo is quite a powerful command, and if you keep bashing it, you could just undo your whole drawing. Okay, so to get those windows in one move exactly where I want them, I've left clicked and selected them, and I'm going to do mirror, and I'm going to pick the center of my wall, which is also the center of my door, move it up here and choose no. So there we go. I've got my house, got lots of windows, it's got two big doors, or one big door and one normal door. And the next thing